Let's begin.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am Mr. B, and sitting across from me, looking very stressed today, is my good friend Anna. Anna, you look like you just ran a marathon. What is going on?
Oh, Mr. B, I am so angry at myself. I am so frustrated. I want to quit English. I want to move to the mountains and never speak to another human being again.
Okay, let's take a breath. Moving to the mountains is a bit extreme. What happened? Did someone say something mean to you?
No, nobody was mean. That is the worst part. Everyone was very nice.
Okay, so what is the problem?
I went to a dinner party last night. My friend invited me, and there were a lot of English speakers there, native speakers from America and the UK. And before the party, I was so confident, Mr. B. I was at home watching a movie in English, no subtitles. I understood everything. The jokes, the drama, everything. I felt like a genius.
Right, the living room genius. I know that feeling.
Yes. So I walk into this party, I have my drink, a very nice guy comes up to me, he starts telling me this funny story about his dog stealing his shoes. I understood every single word. I was laughing, I was having a great time.
Sounds like a great party so far.
Wait, then the guy stops talking. He looks at me, smiles, and says, "So Anna, do you have any pets?"
Uh-oh.
Mr. B, my brain just turned off. The power went out. It was completely dark inside my head.
Oh no, what did you do?
I stood there. I was holding my drink. My eyes were huge. I know the word for dog. I know the word for cat, but my mouth was glued shut. I panicked. The silence was so long, it felt like 10 years. Finally, I just panicked and said, "I have a meow."
You said, "I have a meow"?
Yes, I couldn't remember the word cat. I just made an animal noise. A grown woman at a nice party making animal noises. I wanted to die. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me.
Oh, Anna, I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry, but honestly, that is the most relatable story I have ever heard. Every single person learning a language has a meow story.
But why does it happen? That is why I am so angry. I understand. If he asked me in a test, "What is a cat?" I would write it down perfectly. Why does my brain work when I am listening, but it completely breaks when I have to speak? Am I just stupid?
You are definitely not stupid. You are just stuck in the understanding trap. Honestly, this is the hardest part of learning any language. It happens to me too.
Really? You're an English teacher.
Yes, but a few years ago, I was living in Spain trying to learn Spanish. I could watch the news in Spanish. I could read the newspaper. One day, I went to a bakery. I wanted to buy one loaf of bread. The baker said, "What would you like today, sir?"
Let me guess, you forgot the word for bread.
Worse, I forgot how to speak completely. I just pointed at the bread, smiled like an idiot, and grunted, "Ugh. I sounded like a caveman. I paid for my bread and ran out of the store. I was so embarrassed.
Okay, a caveman is worse than a meow. That makes me feel a little better. But seriously, how do we fix it? How do I get the words from my brain into my mouth before the other person thinks I am crazy?
We have to look at what's actually happening in your head when someone asks you a question. It's like a traffic jam.
A traffic jam in my head?
Exactly. Think about it. When you're watching a movie, you're just sitting in your car, watching other cars drive by. It's easy. You just watch. That's listening. But when that guy at the party asked you about your pets, suddenly you have to drive the car.
And I crashed the car.
You crashed because you tried to do too many things at once. When he asked you that question, tell me the honest truth. What were you trying to build in your head? Were you trying to say, "I have a cat"?
Well, no. In my head, I thought in my native language first. I wanted to say, "I don't have a dog, but I recently adopted a beautiful black cat from the animal shelter."
Exactly. You were trying to write a novel. You were trying to be Shakespeare at a dinner party.
But I want to sound smart. I'm an adult. I don't want to just say, "cat, good."
I know, but that's the biggest mistake. We call it the perfection trap. Your brain is trying to find the vocabulary, translate it from your native language, check the English grammar, make sure your accent is good, and build a long, beautiful sentence all in 2 seconds. It's too much traffic. The brain just stops. Crash.
That's exactly what it feels like. It's just too much information.
So, how do we fix the traffic jam? We have to clear the road. You have to lower your standards.
Lower my standards? You want me to speak bad English?
I want you to speak survival English when you panic. If you feel the panic coming, if your eyes get wide and you feel like making an animal noise, you have to drop the grammar. Stop trying to be perfect. Just throw the nouns and verbs at the other person.
Throw the words at them. Okay, let's practice this. You're a guy at a party. Ask me a question and I will throw words at you.
Okay, we're at a party. Hey, Anna. Wow, the food here is great. What is your favorite kind of food?
Pizza. Very much. Spicy.
Yes, perfect. Did it sound like a poetry book? No. Did I understand you completely? Yes. And now the conversation keeps going. I can say, oh, I love spicy pizza too. Where is the best place to get it?
Wow, that took zero pressure off my brain. I didn't worry about my favorite food is or I usually prefer to eat. I just said pizza.
Exactly. Native speakers do not care about your grammar at a dinner party. They just want to know you. They just want the information. If you go to a coffee shop and you want a large black coffee, do not stand in line trying to build the sentence, "Excuse me, good sir, would you kindly prepare a large black coffee for me?"
I actually do that. I practice the sentence in my head while I wait in line. And then when I get to the front, the barista says, "Next," and I get scared and say, "Water."
Stop practicing novels in line. Just say, "Large black coffee, please." 3 words. It's polite, it's fast. The barista is happy. You get your coffee.
Okay, lower my standards, don't be Shakespeare. I like this rule. But Mr. B, what about the awkward silence? That is the scary part. The guy asks me a question and I need 2 or 3 seconds to find the English word in my head. But 3 seconds of silence feels like death.
Ah, the silence of panic. You're right. If someone asks you a question and you just stare at them with big eyes for 3 seconds, they get uncomfortable. They think, oh no, she doesn't understand me. So they start talking more. They try to explain the question and they talk faster.
Yes, and then I get more confused. It's a nightmare. I just want to yell, "Stop talking and let me think."
But you can't yell at people at a dinner party, Anna.
I know, so what do I do?
You have to buy time. You have to build a bridge over the silence. You do this by making a noise.
A noise? Like meow? We already tried that.
Oh, no animal noises. You use filler words. Native speakers use these all the time. When we don't know what to say, we don't just stand in silence. We say things like, or well, or you know.
That's a good one. It sounds like I'm thinking very deeply.
It does. It tells the other person, I heard you, I understand you, my brain is working, just give me a second. It's a pause button for the conversation.
Give me some more pause buttons. I need a whole pocket full of them.
Okay, a really good one is repeating the question slowly.
Oh, like a parrot?
Sort of. If the guy asks, where are you traveling next year? You can say, traveling next year. Let me think.
Traveling next year. Let me think. Oh, wow. That gave me like 4 extra seconds to find the word Japan in my head.
Exactly. You didn't just sit in silence. You kept the conversation warm while your brain did the work.
Let's role play this. This is fun. Ask me a really difficult question. Give me a heart attack.
Okay, you're at work. Your boss walks up to your desk. He looks stressed. He says, Anna, why are the sales numbers so low this month?
Oh my God, my brain is crashing. Okay, use the pause button. The sales numbers. That's a good question. Let me check.
Anna, that was brilliant. You sounded like a CEO. you didn't panic, you didn't freeze, and you bought yourself time to look at your computer.
I feel powerful. I'm hacking the English language. I'm a hacker.
You are, but there's one more thing we need to talk about. The biggest reason you freeze up, it's not just the vocabulary, it's the fear.
The fear of sounding stupid.
Yes, we're adults. We have jobs. We have responsibilities. We're smart in our native language, and when we speak English, we suddenly feel like 5-year-old kids. It hurts our ego.
It hurts so much. When I made that meow sound, I thought, this guy thinks I'm an idiot. He thinks I have no brain.
But Anna, think about it from his perspective. If you met a guy from America who moved to your country and he was trying to speak your native language, if he made a mistake or if he forgot a word, would you think he was stupid?
No, I would think it was cute, or I would just want to help him. I would respect him for trying.
Exactly. So why do you think native English speakers are evil monsters who are judging your every word?
Because I judge myself.
Bingo. You are your own worst enemy. You are grading yourself like a strict teacher. But the guy at the party, he doesn't have a red pen. He isn't giving you an A or an F. He just wants to know if you have a cat.
You are right. I am being too hard on myself.
The most fluent English learners I know, the ones who sound the most natural, are not the ones with perfect grammar. They are the ones who are not afraid to laugh at themselves. If you forget a word, just laugh. Say, oh my goodness, my English brain just turned off. What is the word for the animal that barks?
A dog.
Yes, if you make it a joke, the other person will laugh with you, and the stress completely disappears.
That is so true. I should have just laughed at the party and said, wow, I forgot the word for cat. I need more wine.
That would have been the perfect native speaker response. I forgot the word. I need more wine. That is pure survival English right there.
Okay, Mr. B, I feel a lot better. I have my survival words, I have my pause buttons, and I know I need to stop judging myself. But how do I practice? I can't just wait to go to another party. I need to train my mouth at home.
You do, because right now you only use your ears at home. You watch Netflix in silence.
Yes, I am a very quiet couch potato.
You need to become a loud couch potato. We have to connect your ears to your mouth. Have you ever heard of the shadowing technique?
Shadowing? Like following someone in a dark alley?
No, not stalking. Shadowing means you act like an echo. When you are watching that English movie, I don't want you to just sit there. I want you to pick one character. Every time they say a sentence, you pause the TV and you say it out loud.
Out loud? To my empty living room?
Yes, your tongue and your lips are muscles. They are used to making the shapes of your native language. English requires different shapes. It feels weird at first. You have to train your mouth muscles to make those sounds quickly without thinking.
So if the actor says, "What are you doing here?" I pause it and I say, "What are you doing here?"
Exactly. And don't just read the words, copy the emotion, copy the melody. If they are angry, you be angry. If they are whispering, you whisper.
My neighbors are going to think I have gone completely crazy. They're going to hear me yelling at my television.
Let them think you are crazy. You are building muscle memory. If you do this for just 10 minutes a day, the next time you are at a party, the words won't get stuck in the traffic jam. They will just slip right out of your mouth because your muscles already know how to say them.
I love this. I'm going to go home, put on an action movie, and scream English at my cat.
The cat you know the word for.
Yes, the meow.
All right, let's do a quick lightning round to finish this up. Let's make sure you are ready for the real world. I'm going to throw 3 situations at you. You have to survive. No big sentences. Use your pause buttons. Throw the words. Ready?
I am a survivor. Hit me.
Situation 1. You're at a restaurant. The waiter speaks incredibly fast. Hi, my name is John. What can I get you started with today? Any drinks?
Let me see. Just water, please.
Flawless. You didn't panic about his speed. You just gave him the noun. Situation 2. You're on the phone. This is the scariest one.
Oh, I hate the phone. I can't see your face.
Exactly. It's a delivery driver. Hey, I'm outside your building, but I don't see the entrance. Are you on the north or south side?
Oh, that is a good question. I am next to the supermarket, red door.
Boom! You didn't know north or south, so you just gave a landmark, the red door. The delivery guy finds you, you get your package.
I am so good at this. Give me the last one. Make it hard.
You are at another party. The same guy from last night is there. He walks up to you, he smiles and says, "Hey Anna, how is your meow doing?"
I would look at him, take a sip, and say, "Well, my cat is doing great. How is your dog?"
Anna, you have officially graduated from the living room genius to a real-world speaker.
Thank you, Mr. B. I feel like a heavy backpack has been taken off my shoulders. I don't have to be perfect.
You don't. Perfection is boring anyway. Mistakes are where the fun happens. To everyone listening out there, we want to hear your stories.
Yes, please tell me I am not the only one who has made an animal noise at a party. Go into the comments and tell us your most embarrassing English mistake.
Share the pain. We will read them and we will probably laugh with you, not at you. Remember, lower your standards, use your pause buttons, and talk to your television.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Keep talking.